Hi guys, yesterday we did roots and zeros, finding them from a graph. Now today we are going to go back to factoring to find our roots and zeros from that. So we have to go back a little bit to, I want to say, the end of the second marking period when we actually factored trinomials. We're going to continue to do that. We're going to factor the trinomial, then we're actually going to find its roots and zeros from that. So bear with me here. The first example, okay, I'll do a little example 1. Okay, we are going to factor x squared plus 9x plus 18, and that's going to equal 0. And guys, if you remember, the reason why we wanted to equal 0 is that's how we find out what our x is equal. Because after that, we have to set our, x is equal to 0 and then solve. If we, hopefully remember that. But if you guys remember, for factoring trinomials, we make that little t-chart. Remember the little t-chart? We want numbers to multiply to be our constant, which is 18, and add to be our middle number, or the number in front of x, which is 9. Okay, so we need to find a match, two numbers that multiply to be 18 and add to be 9. So, we can guess and check. We can, do whatever we need to. I like to start out, most numbers can be, divisible by 2, and if not, they're 3. So I like to try 2 and whatever first. So 2 times 9 gives me 18. But 2 plus 9 is not 9. So right off the bat, guys, I know my answer can't be a 2 and a 9. So let's go to the next one. 3 times 6 is 18, and 3 plus 6 is actually 9. That means I found my match. That is my answer. Okay, so what happens to this is, do you guys remember you get two different binomials? We get an x, since it's a positive 3, it's a plus 3. And since it's a positive 6, we get x plus 6. And that's going to equal 0. Okay, now guys, from there, do you remember how we made our two separate equations? We're going to set each equal to 0. X plus 3 equals 0, and x plus 6 equals 0. And guys, this is just an easy solve. Subtract 3 from both sides. You get x equals negative 3. Subtract 6 from both sides. You get x equals negative 6. Okay, so guys, from this, real roots. Okay? Guys, you have two different answers, right? Negative 3 and negative 6. So you have two real roots. And your zeros are negative 3 and negative 6. Okay, so that's actually how you do it with factoring. So if you guys would like to, now is your time to pause to copy down this example, because I am going on. Okay, going to clear this. Sweet. Let's try example 2 now. All right, example 2 is going to be x squared plus 6x minus 16 equals 0. All right, so now we want two numbers that multiply to be a negative 16 and add to be 6. Now, guys, if any two numbers multiply to be a negative number, we know that one has to be negative, because a negative times a negative is a positive, and a positive times a positive is a positive. So we know one has to be negative, one has to be positive. So like before, I like to start with 2. So I'm going to use the number 2. So 2 times what is 16? 2 times 8. Now, if your bigger number is positive, okay, like see how we have plus 6? We know our bigger number has to be positive because we're getting a plus. So this should be negative 2 times 8. Negative 2 times 8 is negative 16. Now, what is negative 2 plus 8? We actually get a positive 6. So we found out our match right there. So this over here is going to become x minus 2, because 2 is a negative, and x plus 8. And that's going to equal 0. We're going to do our two equations. So x minus 2 equals 0, and x plus 8 equals 0. And we're just going to solve normally. Add 2 to both sides. You get x equals 2. Subtract 8 from both sides. You get x equals negative 8. So if we were to ask, how many real roots do we have? Well, we have two separate answers, right? 2 and negative 8 are different. So we would have 2. And our zeros, okay, would be a positive 2 and a negative 8. Sweet. So now, guys, this is your time to copy. All right, because I'm about to go on to the next example. So pause if you need to. Okay. 2 more examples, guys, so just bear with me, not much time left. So we're going to do an example 3. Okay? This example is going to be x squared minus 9x plus 20 equals 0. All right, so over here we want stuff that multiplies to be 20, but adds to be a negative 9. Guys, if they multiply to be a positive, but add to be a negative, both of them have to be negative, because a negative times a negative is a positive, and a negative plus a negative stays negative. So right off the bat, we know both of our answers are going to be negatives. Okay? So we can try negative 10 times negative 2, but negative 10 plus negative 2 is not negative 9. So that can't work. All right? 3 does not go into 20, but 4 does. So negative 4 times negative 5. That's positive 20. And then negative 4 plus negative 5. Yay, we actually found our match. So this is going to become x minus 4 and x minus 5. And that's going to equal 0. So then again, guys, quick. X minus 4 equals 0. And x minus 5 equals 0. Okay, I'm going to add 4 to both sides. I get x equals 4. Add 5 to both sides. I get x equals 5. So, real roots. I have 2 different numbers, right? X equals 2 different numbers, so I have 2 real roots. My zeros are going to be a positive 4 and a positive 5. Guys, that is your third example. Please pause if you need to. Otherwise, we are going on. Last example. All right, guys, example 4. All right, we're going to have x squared plus 12x plus 36 equals 0. All right, we want 2 numbers that multiply to be 36 and add to be 12. Guys, right off the bat, 36 is a, do we know what this is? It's actually a perfect square. We know 6 times 6 is 36. So right off the bat, I'm just going to use that because 36 is one of those special numbers. So, and again, guys, we have 2 pluses, so we know everything's going to be plus. So 6 times 6 is 36, but what about 6 plus 6? Is it 12? Yes. Okay, so our binomials become x plus 6 and x plus 6 equals 0. Okay, so now we're going to solve this. X plus 6 equals 0 and x plus 6 equals 0. Okay, we subtract 6 from both sides. We get x equals negative 6. Sorry, on both of them. Okay, so guys, this is the only thing that changes a little bit. So your real roots, guys, I have 2 answers, but they're the same number. So technically there's only one real root. It's at negative 6. So for this one, there's only one real root, and the 0 is a negative 6. So guys, when you have something like this where it comes to the same number, it's going to end up being one root and that number. All right, guys, that's it for your examples today. If you have any questions or need any help, let us know. We are here for you and hope you have a fabulous day. Bye.